Good morning, everybody. It is June 29th. It is about 20 after 8 or so. I'm just getting started for some morning analysis. I'm just pulling up my charts for the day. I always like to do this without sort of like I don't sit down and like map out what I'm going to say and do prior. I like to kind of like do it with you guys live. And some people may like that, some people may not. But it's just the way I like to do it. So let's just take a look quick at yesterday. Yesterday was a good day of trading for me. Um, and I can kind of show you a little bit of what we did. So we started out the day real bearish, right? This nice push down. And so basically, we had this level mapped out here as this sort of key level of volume right here. And I basically just plopped a limit order right there with a stop under the low and took a quick little scalp there, nice little hit. And then on the way down, there was some accumulation in here. If we look at this, let's go back. Here we go. Right in here, we had this accumulation as we were coming down. So this was basically the trade we took, kind of touched this level, probed it a little bit, but then shot back up and hit our profit target. That was a nice little win, very quick, easy. And on the way down, we created this level, this little accumulation. You could barely notice it, but there was a little accumulation here. And so I had some people on live with me, and I said, if price gets up back up this level, I'm going to take a short, and I did. And that worked out really well too. I just went for a little 1 point scalp there because I wasn't sure how much of a reaction we were going to get. As price developed, I did mention I thought we'd come back down to this level again, which we ultimately did, but you can see we tested this 4273 level multiple times. So if you were with me live, we identified this 4273 level basically by 9:40 a.m. and that became a very key level throughout the entire day of resistance. So really, really important to be able to identify these levels, and you can learn how by just joining our community. It's free, um, and uh, and then yeah, we just sort of bounced around in here. So those were my trades. I took this one here and then back up this one here. Now, also during our pre-market analysis, we talked a bit about this level. Let me just get rid of some of my indicators here. We talked about this other level down here as well that price may want to test. And that turned out to be the bottom of the day. Now, I was already done trading for the day, but you could have very easily just plopped a limit order on that level. That was the 42.6475. And you could see how buyers came in very aggressively off that level and pushed price up. So again, I think we're looking very bullish at this point. Things are looking very good for another rally. We're building more volume up here, so that's pretty good. So I'm going to just take some of these levels off the chart. I wanted to keep them there just so you can see how yesterday's levels played out. And maybe I'll keep this one here just because it might get tested again. This one we are done and over with. This one we did not react to. We're done and over that level right there. So that's sort of where we're at. Now, as far as today, kind of hard to say. Yesterday's price action, we just got this nice, really bullish run here. And then we kind of retraced a little bit. This is the first time I'm even looking at the overnight. Really big 30-minute candles here for overnight session. So that's kind of interesting to see. Let's take a look at where volume lines up and just take a look at what happened during this rally. Is there anything? There's a big reversal here, so there might be some volume down there. Yeah, this was just a strong rally. I mean, this was just really, really aggressive buying all the way up here. So I'm not sure, honestly, that we need to come back and retest much of this anymore. That's looking really good to me. Let's zoom out a little bit. Let's go out to our, let's see here. Yeah, let's go out here. Let's just take a look at some of these ranges. This is a 4-hour chart. And this sort of represents this range that we were kind of stuck in forever. And we can see still value really hasn't changed. It's still just right here. And if we want to, we can kind of turn this on and get a better feel for like what that's actually doing. And we can see that value really, it's kind of gone up slightly, but it hasn't really changed. Point of control has bounced around a little bit. It was down here, then up, then down again, then back up. But really, point of control is still right where it is. So this is good though. The fact that we are building volumes up here means that we are getting some price acceptance, right? So this stuff right here, if our profile really just, if instead of doing that, if instead of building those volumes, if we were kind of just maintaining this sort of thing and flattening out there, then that would be a sign that we're probably going to just regress back into this range again. But this looks good to me, and I really like that little test down yesterday, and then that aggressive buying that came off that level. So that was a key volume level from Friday's price action. And so, that tells me that if institutions were accumulating there, that they really wanted to defend those positions. They really, really wanted to defend those positions. And that is good to know. So that's this level right here. Again, that 42.64. I think we can make some assumption there. That was basically the opening trading from Friday. And you can see it on the session volume. Okay, so this was Friday's session volume, and this little peak right here, right? If we look at the price action that lines up with it, it really was just the first, hour or so of trading. That's a lot of volume came in right at those levels. So, there was probably some institutional money that said, "Hey, we want to, we want to buy at the open here." Little retest of it midday Friday, and then shot off, and then just this retest again. The fact that it got tested twice, if we come back down there again, we might probe through it, and that would just be something I'd be a little bit aware of, or a little bit, keep in the back of my mind that we might probe that level if we test it again. But I'm just not convinced that we're going to at this point. So we'll just have to see how the market plays out. So far today, it looks like we're going to open above value from yesterday, so that's a good thing. That's pretty bullish for the day, and we can see these rising values, rising point of control. So again, very bullish. So yeah, the price action though is a little bit tricky, I think, as far as, a lot of times I like to kind of come up with some good levels for the day. And I'm just going to be honest, I don't have a lot for today because this run from yesterday just didn't leave us with anything. There was no retracements in here. I mean, this was just really aggressive buying all the way up. If we look at it on a 30-minute chart, we can just see that basically from the moment we touched that 42.64 level, that it was just very aggressive, essentially single print candles. This is what's often referred to as single time frame buying. And, little retracement in here that probably just had to do with maybe some of what went on in here, I guess, maybe. Yeah, see that level right there? So that's just kind of where we retrace to. And then we're kind of taking off again. So that level, and if we look at Cliff's volume closely, we can see that it's not like there's not one level that really, really stands out. So if we zoom in, we might even see that level changes a little bit. Sometimes that happens. But that is, yeah, see how if we go to the 5-minute, we get a little bit more accuracy, and you can see how we retrace right to that in the overnight. So, so that's kind of all I got. And then this overnight movement was pretty, I would call this efficient movement because there was a lot of retests, right? So unlike this very aggressive buying where there was not a lot of retests, we got this little retest right here of that same level that we retested in the overnight. But here we see that the buying was not as aggressive. We had trading kind of going both ways, and key levels getting tested all the way up. So, it's when we have those kind of what I would call naked levels, right? Levels that have never been tested. Those tend to be more important to us. But here, we can see that all these levels have really been kind of tested and dealt with all the way up. The volume, nothing really stands out volume-wise here. So I think this is a day that we might just have to kind of see how things unfold. This pre-market trading is really whippy because we're here up at all-time highs and the volume's kind of thin. So price is really fluctuating quite a bit. So be careful out there if you're trading this stuff. But I just don't see a ton. I don't see a lot that's very interesting here right now. That's my personal take. I just don't see a lot that's very interesting here. Um, you know, a little bit here, but again, nothing really stands out super strong. So I guess analysis is kind of short and sweet today. It's, we're really ranging right now and really thin. I mean, even on the 5-minute chart, I mean, this is just really sloppy price action. So it's sort of like proceed with caution for me. Let's map out our levels. Let's map out our ranges, and we'll kind of go from there, because that may be more helpful right now to get a feel where we're at. So let's get rid of this. And yeah, okay. So we had this sort of purplish thing that we were dealing with, kind of retested the top of that. That's all fine and dandy. I don't even know that I need this really here anymore. And I'm just going to go through this with you guys. It's just, this is the way I map out levels, and it just helps me visually, and it just helps kind of the way my brain works. So we had a low to high, and then we made a new low to this new high, right? And this is the 8-hour chart. And then we made a new low, and then really we're just sort of rocketing off that low, right? So we haven't really made a new low yet. So I'm going to kind of keep this here, right? And then if we go down into a 4-hour, we may see a bit more detail. And that's where, again, we kind of had this up, little test here, up again. So really not a lot changed. We're still in this whitish range here, and we still haven't really tested the top of this one. So there's a chance we could come down and test into here a little bit. This little purple level was a low volume node. And what I mean from that is, let's just grab some of this stuff. See how the volume gets real thin right in there? That purple line is just where that lowest volume is. So there's a chance I think we could come down and test into there, and that could act as a rejection, because if we go through there, then we're coming right back into this. This is a magnet. I mean, all this volume here is like a magnet if we come through that purple level, which is 4250. So I kind of want that 4250 to hold, and then for us to continue to build volume above it. That's what I want to see for a continued bullish rally. I want to see volumes build up here, right? So yeah, so I think a little retest of this level, meaning we could come down to the lower end of this white channel, and we could probe it just a touch. We could get a little tail that probes it, and test like that 4250 or the top of this channel here, 4248.25. I don't want to be too precise in there. Because again, we could get a probe, we could stop a little bit early, we could just go to the bottom of this white channel here, this 4253. But the main kind of key thing right now is that we made a low here. You can see this, you can see this clear on the 2-hour. We made a low here at 4253.25, and then we made this high at 4277.50 or so. And then we kind of made this next low that tested this level, 4264.75 yesterday. Attempted new high, but this is not a convincing new high to me. And then we fell back in, tested these levels again. And again, we're trying to like maintain this, but this is looking very sideways to me. Okay, this is looking very rangy. And so if this is going to be a range, then we have to have a strategy for a range, right? Don't use a trending strategy in a ranging market. And in a ranging market, until we break out of this, what we want to be doing is selling the higher extremes and buying the lower extremes. And kind of, I like to target the middle, because a lot of times as the range becomes a trend, if we sell up here, we might come down, but not come down all the way. And so for me personally, I'd like to be out of that trade. So I like to target, personally, I just target the point of control of the range. That's what I do. So I sell the extremes, right? All these tails, right? That is responsive sellers coming in. These tails down here is responsive buyers coming in. So that would be the way we want to play this kind of ranging market. Now, the fact that this made this high, came back, tested the point of control, and is coming back up here again is, again, a little bit of a sign that we might break out of this today. Okay. So the more we spend time above the point of control here, and if the point of control starts to move, then that is a bullish sign, okay? Bullish sign for the day. And you know what, I gotta save these settings because I do like to turn this on. So let me just don't like that color. There we go. So we can see that, you know, the point of control hasn't really changed as this range has been developing. Values expanded a little bit as price is just going through exploration. But what we want to see is, are we going to come down here and retest the lower end of this range? If we do, I would then, again, suggest buying outside of value, the lower end of the range, targeting the midpoint or targeting the part of the point of control as long as we're stuck in this range. Again, we could come all the way down. So we just want to be aware of that. But ranges tend to get tested, you know, 3, 4, 5 times before they break. So, but this is looking real rangy to me. I want to see more convincing highs here. The fact that we have these tails up, we are getting closes above here, but these tails, you know, are a little bit funky, right? A little bit funky with those tails there. We could draw another channel if we want to, something right about here that does like that, right? And you can see again that we kind of made this low, high, low, trying to make a high and failing. That's a warning sign, right? So not saying that it can't push up from here, but this, like, I'm not buying right now because this is a range. This is sideways, and I don't want to be stuck in a sideways market, right? We might play it as this range here even if we wanted to go down to a more granular level, okay? You could play it like this if you're day trading. Buying the lower extreme, see the tails, and then selling the upper extreme. There's not a tail here, but this is a huge reversal candle, okay? All right, so now we see, again, on our 30-minute, right, we've got a little bit of sideways, made a low, made a new high, trying to make a low, failing sort of miserably, and then this just gets really sloppy to me. Like, there's almost no point in mapping this with our ranges because this just starts to get really messy. But we do see that there's another, you know, if we wanted to go more granular, what we had is low. I'm going to change this color so it's clearer to see. Low, high, and then low, high, and then low, high. And now all the price action that we're seeing right now is basically within this range. Okay, so for a scalping standpoint, this is the range that we are, this is the range we're playing. But again, volume is super thin in here right now. And, you know, it's just not my cup of tea personally. But if you're scalping this, you sell these upper extremes, see how the volume gets thin. That's what I was talking about on that bigger time frame. We were building volumes up here, so that was a good sign. Here you can see there's no volume building up here. So if price comes up here, you see the tail, we just revert right back down into that point of control. If price comes down, see how the volume gets thin, we revert right back up to the point of control. So that's kind of where we're at right now. And I don't think it's going to look much different if we go into smaller time frames. It's just going to really just continue to look the same. Okay, so if we're doing this, you want to be selling outside of value on the upper extremes of the range, buying outside of value on the lower extremes of the range. Be a little bit careful of this volume building down here. And again, that doesn't surprise me because on this bigger range, we're probing the top and not being very successful. And there's a chance we could come down and test some of this lower stuff. We could test the lower end of this green, this darker green range, or the lower end of this white range. So we could be testing down to 42, 64, 75. That lines up with that low from yesterday. Or coming down here, maybe this 42.57 level may still be relevant, or just the bottom, you know, testing this low down here around 42.53.50. All right. That's kind of what I'm watching. The fact that value is migrating downward here, again, another little warning sign. So just going to be monitoring this essentially and seeing how it plays out. If value continues to move down and if the point of control continues to move down, then I would be more apt to focus on selling the upper extremes rather than buying the lower extremes, because If value and the POC are moving down, that's a sign that we could be getting ready to just break down out of this range and test these lower levels. So I'd rather be getting in here and not getting caught up here. But buying and selling the extremes gives you pretty good risk reward because you've got levels you can put stops off of and be pretty safe. So that's kind of where I'm at for the day. It's early still. We've got 45 minutes before the market opens. Anything can change, but that's where I'm at right now. And I'm going to head over to our trading room in Discord. And if you want to join us, we offer the ability to join for free. And you just go to dpmtrades.com. And it's a new community. It's very small right now, so you can ask a lot of questions. And there's not a lot of, people that have been there forever that are going to be judgmental of you or whatever. So we're all here to learn and grow, and that's what the community is for. So join us if you like. I hope to see you there. Good luck trading, guys.